Good evening. How's everyone doing? That was an odd beginning, actually. Usually I take myself off the screen and you just see the NJP logo, and then I leave that for a minute so I can get my tablet going so I can see the comments, and then I put the video up, the intro, and I couldn't get the intro working, so you may hear me talking if you go back and watch. You may hear my voice talking to myself before the video started. How's everyone doing? John McGinnis, Kathleen, Celine, how's everyone doing on this gorgeous, cold New Jersey Monday night? God, I hate this friggin' weather, man. I hate it. Anyway, lots to talk about. Hey, Brian Raleigh. Lots to talk about. I've got a sheet full of events that I'm trying to figure out dates for. But I wanted to catch everybody up on happy Monday indeed. Really. I don't know, it's the weather, man. I got a congestion thing going here. I don't know what it is. See that I'm getting old. Happy Friday. Happy Monday. Happy Friday. I wish. Anyway, I want to talk about the I'm going to get to the mine event, which is probably the last thing I'm going to talk about. But first, I'm going to talk about the Michael and Marty interview / discussion. Hey, Cheryl, how are you? I'm not going to talk a lot about that other than I could not get it out of my head, man, that guy sounded like Obi-Wan Kenobi. I just, that's all I kept thinking about after that interview was I kept hearing Obi-Wan Kenobi's voice in my head. And he kept saying the master, my master, I was just like, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi. I was meant to meet this guy. It's 3-day dark, damp, and dreary. You got that right. But anyway, that interview, the one thing I took away from that, other than the fact that they've been doing this a long time and they've been together a long time and they worked on a lot of things. And, you know, I can't wait to see it for myself. I watched it on Ghost Adventure show, but the one thing I took away from that, and I mentioned it at the event that we were doing Saturday night at the mine, was that I I appreciated that Michael was just like, I'm so tempted to call him Mike. Most people like call him Michael or Mike, I guess, but coming from England, it's more proper Michael. But anyway, um, he was one of those people that, I run everything through my skeptic brain, and maybe I believe everything, and maybe I believe some stuff, maybe I believe a little bit of stuff, as far as what their beliefs are. But he was at least, hey Donna, he was at least like, any question you asked him, he gave you his perspective, and I can appreciate that, from his experience and whatever abilities that he has. And he didn't really give like the rubber stamp answers that you get from a lot of mediums, and which I was kind of impressed by. I asked him about heaven, and I got his interpretation, his impression. I asked him about how the abilities work, and most mediums would tell me through the years, I get pictures, I get images, I get symbols, I get a word. He was like, nah, they're like standing there, and I talked to him. I was like, wow, I never really heard that before from anyone. And as a matter of fact, everyone would tell me the opposite. They would tell me that, it's not like the movie Ghost where Whoopi was seeing Patrick Swayze and everything. It's not like that. They just get images and words and whatever. He was like, nah, a friend of mine died and he was in my living room. I was like, really? Like, again, whether I don't know if that's real or what, but his training and everything is a little different. Again, he comes from a different generation of mediums. Things are a lot different now. I don't even know how it works now. If you think you have mediumship abilities, I know there are people within our group here who have taken mediumship classes from, I mean, Jane Darty's done them, the woman, Gloria, I butcher her last name. I know that's kind of like, I don't know about common, but I know it's available to people. But like back in those days, I hate to make it sound like, but I'm not a spring chicken either. But in those days, there weren't any of those classes. It was like you you met somebody who was kind of like you or a group of people, and you just went with your tribe and you learned, and maybe you met someone who had been doing it for a long time, and away you went. But the one thing that he said to me that stuck with me was, I had heard from several mediums through the years, and I like people that stick out to me. Nancy Weber, the psychic detective, she studied both psychology and she had like a nursing degree. So I really listen to her and take in what she says, because I know, again, she's got a different kind of mind. And hey Lisa. But I get the feeling like, a lot of mediums will tell you, like someone like me couldn't develop those abilities because my mind is too busy. I can't shut it off no matter what. I just can't shut my brain off enough to meditate. It's impossible. Impossible. Um, and I think that there's some truth in that accessing that part of your brain makes you more sensitive to spirits, or open to that type of communication if it exists that way. Um, you know, in theory, like the spirits feel, like, could they be in pain, like physical pain? Could they smell? Can they, you know what I mean? It's weird. Can they see things, or is it just energy? You know, but what he was saying about the seeing things through the eyes. Nancy said the same thing to me. Nancy was like, most people are taking in information all the time. Hey, Ann, through their eyes and their ears, and all that information is going into your brain, and you're processing it in whichever way. Um, your upbringing, all that stuff factors into how you process things, um, and what he was kind of saying was, if you're not going by the eyes all the time, and it's just like the brain itself, you're seeing the images in here rather than through here. That made a lot of sense, and I like that aspect a lot. I mean, if there was a way to delve more into that, I would do that. Short of like, hey Laura, short of like psychedelics, like because that's like mind altering. I don't know if like that's the way to do it, but I think like there's got to be a way to kind of practice that and just try to tap into that little by little to see if you could incorporate that into spirit communication and interaction. But that stuck with me, and I really like that. Like I said, that the way he explained it made a whole lot of sense to me as far as mediumship and how they see things, as opposed to someone like me. He's not looking at it like looking around and actually seeing the spirit there. It's more here, it's going on like telepathy or whatever, which I thought was kind of cool. So I mean, there's more there. I just need to learn how to incorporate that into what I do and how I do it, and see if I can't figure out a happy medium to the left track. No, there's got to be something to that, though. I really believe that part of being a medium is accessing something. It's like people that can automatically like play the piano or the guitar, or that are good at math and that are artists or whatever. They're accessing parts of their brain, that talent. People are naturally good at basketball or baseball or whatever. That's in there somewhere, and some have access to it at a very heightened level, and others can dribble ball like me, and that's about it. But I think there's something to that, and it's something worth kind of exploring and looking into. I gotta figure out how to do that. Maybe like another session with Gloria too. Now that I met the Jedi Master, maybe I could figure out how to hone my abilities. But that brings me into, that's all I want to say. Besides that, the event still has tickets available. The gallery reading still has tickets available for August 22nd with Michael and Marty. So you can see that on display for yourself. Him seeing the spirits and her doing the sketches. Email NewJerseyParanormal@yahoo.com. The Ghost Walk, there's only a handful of spaces left for that, maybe. And then we have the Ghost Hunt with Cody and Satori and the Haunted Objects. And there's tickets left for that too. So I know that's a ways off, but if you're interested, just email. Then I wanted to go back before that to the, or was it after that? Don't remember. To the Creeper Gallery when I was there. And I got to tell you, I didn't get to share this because we had done the interview right afterwards, but those ritual things, man, they messed me up. And Donna and I were texting the next day, because Donna will always text me and she'll be like, oh, that was a crazy investigation or a good investigation or whatever. Interesting. And she texted me the day after, and I'm like, man, those things messed me up. I'm still kind of feeling lingering effects of that. I felt it immediately with the headache, and then the taste. I haven't had that taste in my mouth in probably years since an object has done that, caused that weird metal blood taste in my mouth, and I knew that there was a little bit of trouble there, and but of course, me, I keep going because that's part of the fascination of, what's going to happen next. I'm curious just like everyone else. The only difference is I'm the one sitting there, you know. And I kept going, and it kept more and more, and I kept feeling my head hurting more, um, nauseous feeling, and then I got that pain where I literally, I, I was telling people at the event at the Sterling Hill mine, if I could have reached the camera, my phone, I'd have shut the feed off because I didn't, I really didn't know if I was going to be able to move from that position. I was stuck in pain. It wouldn't let go. And I didn't know what to do. If even if my phone was close enough to where my foot could have reached out and kicked the stand over like Blair Witch, I probably would have done that because I thought that I was either going to ride it out and see if it went away, or I was going to have to make a call. Well, I don't know how Chris would have gotten to me, but whatever. It would not let go, and even though you guys watch it, it probably seemed like a whatever short period of time, but to me, that went on for a while. I mean, it hurt like hell. I mean, I was stuck and I wasn't talking, I wasn't saying anything. I was in massive amount of pain. I mean, I was hurting. And then it finally let up a little to where I could move and move around and I felt it a little bit, but it didn't hurt nearly as bad. But uh, I'm reading, the chat and the messages and stuff. I mean, the comments, and I'm just like, all right, John, stop it. All right, John, that's enough. All right, John, stop it. And I'm like, I'm not stopping anything after that. No way, you know? And the funny thing is I was talking to people this weekend about, I can't even pronounce them, but the ritual bones. And I think somebody said to me they were from, was it the shoulders or the ribs? I can't remember. But that's where the pain was, believe it or not. That's where I felt it, which was really, really weird, and that it was so strong. Um, but people say they were used for good stuff, and I got a feeling one of the two wasn't, and that one in particular. And again, that stayed with me. I didn't feel the next day. I don't remember. I think I went Wednesday. Thursday, I didn't feel great as far as energy. I was tired. I was beat up. I was irritable. And Friday, we had the interview. So I got through that. But I slept and then woke up right before that interview, still kind of off. And then for the Sterling Hill Mine event, here, I'll do product placement. If you're watching Celsius, I must have had probably 4 or 5 of those just to get me to the event and then through the event because I was dead tired for that event. So, but yeah, that made me a little nervous and made me so nervous that I was telling people on Saturday. See it there. My magic rocks. I'm wearing my magic rocks again because I'm very superstitious, and even though I don't really believe in magic rocks and crystals and protective ones and blah blah blah, this one could do that, and this one could send a meteor across the heavens and whatever. Even though I don't really believe in them, if there's even that much of a chance that it's real and they can protect me and they work, I'll wear it. So I've been wearing it since Wednesday night. I put it on Thursday morning as soon as I got up because of the way I felt. And I won't revisit those anytime soon. I won't, just because the way they affected me. And, objects like, and it's funny because Donna sent me a text and I told you we're going back and forth. And I told her how much they affected me. And she's like, well, so what are you trying to say? That you don't want me to bring in any more stuff that's, potentially bad or negative? And I'm like, no, I didn't say that. What I said was that they messed me up. But no, please bring in more stuff. It, it, it it's fascinating on how spirits can affect and objects, a building. And I'm going to get into Sterling Hill Mine because it kind of segues right into that. And see, I could do that when Chris isn't right here because segues go so much easier. Oh, she just gave me the finger right from over there. Just gave me the finger. How dare you? Anyway, see, she just distracted me right there. I was segueing perfect, and she gave me the finger and distracted me.
Did it to yourself.
Hear it? Hear it? But anyway, yeah. So that's I didn't really get a chance to go over the Creeper Gallery stuff, but yeah, I'm wearing the bracelet all the time now to try to keep the effects of that from staying and lingering. And the funny thing is that I go right from that into going to the Sterling Hill Mine to an area in the basement where there's a spirit that is known to be a little ornery and messes with people. So that was another reason why I put the old bracelet on, because I didn't really want to keep subjecting myself to all of that stuff and having it affect me. Hello, Kathy. Thank you so much for the batteries, Kathy. Anybody that gives us batteries, we appreciate it because we go through them like there's no tomorrow. And you guys know better than anyone that, prices for everything are up now. Gas, food, batteries, you name it. Price for everything is up. And because we're a nonprofit and we don't make money from these events, it all comes from us. So yeah, you guys doing that, and I'm not asking you to do it, so don't take it that way. But yeah, anybody, it's really nice, and we appreciate it. And thank you, Kathy. Kathy does it often, so it definitely helps because we don't there. I've been to events, and I won't mention who, and I won't mention where I know for a fact that these people weren't swapping out their batteries that often. And because, I kind of heard that. And when things were going off, all I could do in my head during this thing with these people is just wonder the whole time, like, how old is that battery? You know what I mean? Like, are all your batteries old? Is that why whatever that is going, and whatever that is going, and whatever? We make sure, believe me, Chris will be the first one to tell you that on a Friday late afternoon, when I come back home, behind where the camera is right now, in that area right there in front of the TV, is covered with gadgets. Um, I have a big block like this that has USB ports in it that has a million things that need to be charged that way. And then everything else is scattered on the floor with batteries taken out and then batteries going back. And it takes a while, man. It really does take hours to do all that. It's a pain in the what, but I would rather know that if something was going off and people were questioning, I don't want batteries to be part of the reason they're questioning. I don't want to have to say, well, my batteries could be going dead. That's why. No, that's never going to be part of the equation. It's going to be the batteries are good. They're always good. But when you change, 9 volt, when you change like 25 9-volt every single weekend, and double A's and triple A's, yeah, that adds up, man. It does. I'm frustrated that you're interested in communicating. What? I'm frustrated. Are you interested in communicating or just tell stories? Sorry. Well, I don't know what does that mean. Are you interested in communicate? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Am I interested just telling stories? or communicating. I don't know what that means. I'm not doing a ghost hunt right now. I'm home, sitting on my couch. So I don't know really what that means. Hey, Jay, how are you? Um, so anyway, um, that was the Creeper Gallery. And, again, I have to leave there. I have to clean up. I have to put everything back. I have to get in my car. I have to drive home. And after what happened with the monkey that time, I do get a little nervous. Um, with some objects about what they're capable of and what could happen when I'm driving home, especially after I fell asleep one time driving home. That's why, again, right there, lifesaver, caffeine up, and away I go. So that brings me to I made comments and you're not, I didn't read your comments, Kathleen. I apologize. I didn't see them. I was kind of lost in thought there. Comments about what were you commenting about? I'm scrolling up. I just saw one comment from you that said hi there. It's exactly in my head. I don't know. If you comment again, Kathleen, I'll read it and comment on it. I didn't see it. Monday night is when you catch a group and various with the young girl's picture. Is that what I did first? My mind is all I can remember is um, the the bones. What did I do before the bones? That's how it is, because that's another thing. You mentioned this, is that one of the things that happens with the bad ones sometimes is that, and I think I mentioned this during the investigation. Um, I lose focus. I can't. I it doesn't come natural. It it's like zoning out. All of a sudden, it's like someone takes your mind and just shakes it up. Um, I was just I just zoned out, and it really takes a lot for me to really lock back in when stuff starts to affect. Uh, I was explaining how psychic. Oh, that's the same thing. How psychic feels. Well, again, I have no frame of reference for how it feels for mediums when they do things. We don't really have them a lot on our investigations, and I'd like to change that a little bit, not a lot, but you're right. I mean, I never really do get to take them through, take a medium through anything we're doing, and really questioning them as it's happening. So I never really do that, and I should. Jane Doherty would be probably, and Judy Kay, maybe the only two that I have questioned, like what they're picking up on, but they never really describe to me what's going on in their mind other than seeing images or symbols. But they never really described like feelings. Although one time you bring up mediums, I won't mention who. Uh, Chris and I were walking a medium through this really, really old factory. And this factory is from the late 1800s. So there were children that worked there at one time. Lots of accidents, no regulations or nothing back in those days, immigrant workers and whatnot. And there were several accidents and stuff that happened in this factory, which is why they asked us to come in, because they believed it was haunted. This thing was huge, huge building. Um, and we walked through with a medium um, through this one level where we had gotten a lot of activity prior to her coming, and I'll never forget this. And I'm laughing because it just wasn't natural to me because I'm not a medium. And um, she was walking through this one area, and she said, "Hey, Travis," and she said she picked up on an energy of a woman who had been something had happened. She had been assaulted or something in this one stretch. And I said, okay. And she stopped dead and she grabbed her throat. and she was like choking, like herself, like not like really like, but she was mimicking like, I'm choking on something. I feel choking, and I'm with Chris, and we're with this person, and we had no idea what to do for them. We were just like, what do we do about this? And she's like, something happened to somebody here, and they were choked, and I was actually feeling hands on my throat. Now, would I want that ability? Probably not. But that was the one time where we were actively walking through with someone, and then we had someone do auto writing where we were asking them what they were picking up on and what they were feeling. I wish my availability was better so I could. Jay, you're welcome. You're always welcome, Jay. But yeah, as far as the creeper gallery, yeah, I know it helps when Chris is there, um, or vice versa when she's investigating, because I'm reading the comments. If I'm investigating, she's reading the comments, and we're trying to respond the best we can. But yeah, when I'm by myself, it is really hard for me to keep up with the, especially when things are happening. I'm so in the moment every time I investigate, whether you're with me on an event or I'm at the creeper gallery or whatever. I'm, especially when things are happening. I don't want to break the connection by going, oh, this just happened. Now I'm going to look down and read. And no, I'm going to go with the flow, and I'm going to ride that wave to where it takes me every time, every time. So if you feel that way, Kathleen, I apologize. If you feel like I don't keep up with the comments as I'm investigating. I'm really doing the best I can by myself, to just try to really engage with the spirit, you know? I mean, it is live. Whatever happens is happening in real time. So it's kind of hard to navigate and coordinate everything. I'm more locked in on what the object is and who's connected to it and what they're willing to share or do or whatever. So I apologize if you feel like I don't really, address all the comments. I do my best when I'm by myself. Um, I know things in my head or chest. 9/11 collapsed and heard the screams in my head. See, not an ability I would want. I really wouldn't want that ability. Even what Michael was describing, um, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't. I just, it seems so strange to me that someone could have that ability, and I just wonder what it's like, what you're describing, or others, like before people know how to turn it on and turn it off, if there is such a thing. Like, what must that be like? I would honestly think I was going insane if it were me. I That's why I question people all the time when I interview mediums. I'm like, didn't your parents like try to send you with a psychiatrist or something? Like, I'm hearing things. That's the first thing I would think. Like, I'm schizophrenic, man. I'm hearing some stuff, you know. But anyway, I'm going side tangent. Um, but yeah, so I did the needlepoint. That was what was great about that night too, was that I went in there and, you know me, I always look for the stuff that's kind of, fringe, like darker stories or things that are gonna, God, how do I word this? Uh, if they're items that are related to tragedies or emotional, responses that you would think, because of the nature of the passing and I hate calling it a story, but the life story of the individual connected to the item. Um, I find those items to be easier in some ways to connect to, both ways, in a positive way, because if you show compassion and approach them as one person would to another who knows that information and is just saying, hey, I care, just share whatever you want, I'm here to listen. You could get a response. Or the other way, the person could be unfortunately traumatized and emotional the other way, and respond in a way that's not, you know so positive. So, I mean, those objects are a little easier to work with as far as its surface, the energy, the motion is surface. It's right there, and it doesn't take much to make the connection one way or another. But anyway, that needlepoint one was that one was. I read that one first, and I said I'm definitely doing this one. Um, her name was on the bottom. You know, I read all the details, and that one I wanted to do as soon as I saw the picture on the Facebook page. But of course, the ritual items. I'm afraid of them, but I love doing them because, man, any item that are ritual items or items that were, Kathleen, used by a spiritualist or a medium. We've investigated several objects that were part of a medium's collection, like those gazing balls or crystals or whatever. And man, it's like the only way to describe it is it's like the difference between like walking to someplace that's a mile away from you, or if it's a ritual item or an item that belonged to a spiritualist medium, whatever, someone who practiced whatever it is that we do or something similar, that it's like taking an Uber 3/4 of the way there. When your ritual stuff and other stuff, you're 3/4 of the way there. You don't have to do much to make that connection because they're working on their end to meet you and hopefully communicate, interact. You know, other objects not so much. Other objects are as an introduction. It's a again trying to just reach them on some kind of level, and some you can quickly and others you can't. That's why you watch some investigations and you're lucky if you get a voice or maybe something goes off once in a while. And I'm not disappointed in those investigations. You guys might be because you're watching for, you know, whatever, but for me it's just it is what it is. These are people who would probably be, you know, if I weren't doing this, I would be that person because I'm not an extrovert. I'm an introvert. And if I was a spirit existing in a building and not having done this and someone tried to reach out to me, I wouldn't be so welcoming and forthcoming and, you know, approach them probably not the first time off. If they came around a second or third time and I was like, hey, you know, they're not so bad, maybe. But that's a little different. Uh, but if he asks a question and I have an answer, it's hard not to be able to tell you. LOL. I get that, Kathleen, but my thing is Donna has a medium, a couple of them that she works with, and they do their impressions of the objects, and it's listed on there. I want to go in cold. Everything I'm doing, or we're doing, I should say, is based on what we could document and what we could capture, and the interaction of not being mediums. It's not knowing. It's not having the answers. We're trying to get the answers so we can document it. And I agree that it would help to have someone say, well, she's saying this, she's saying that, but the medium gives their impressions and that's sort of their, we're just reading the information and trying to get them to interact and validate or confirm and prove that there's really something there, you know? So that takes me into the Sterling Hill mine Saturday. Now, we hadn't been to the Sterling Hill mine. Chris and I went to a Christmas party there in December, but prior to that, it was Halloween. Had to be Halloween. November, December, January, February, 4.5 months. It's been a while. And there is something to the fact of if you haven't been in a place for a while where spirits are now used to people coming in and trying to talk to them and acknowledging them, and you go back, yeah, we've seen it where that stuff just like some of those spirits are like, hey, you're back. People are finally talking to us again. We want to talk. Where you been? And it was that kind of night. at the Sterling Hill mine where um, they were talking and they were uh, interacting, and they wanted to let people know that they were. And what's interesting about the Sterling Hill mine, and Tyler and I were talking about this. Tyler's one of the tour guides, and he works at the mine. Um, what's weird about the mine is that you would think that a dry mine would be a more um, a better for investigating, because it eliminates the water dropping, and the sound of the echo of the drops, and it's dry just for people walking through there and not getting their shoes wet and mud or whatever. But no, when that mine is wet and that water is dripping, that activity picks up, man. It is the weirdest thing I've seen, because we were talking about how it rained the night before and it rained the day before, and we're like, oh my god, there's going to be puddles everywhere, there's going to be water dripping and blah blah blah. And no, it seemed to increase. And then we heard the story of this was a new one, something about there was a Native American chief there or something, and he was saying something about the natural lake that's from all the compartments being flooded underneath, that there's something there. And he said about going easy over there, and it was like we had never heard that story before, and it was just like, again, with the minerals and the water, it was hopping. Yeah, conduit. Yeah, I knew that, but it was something. And my friend Patricia, who's watching, poor Patricia. Patricia got freaked out, and it was definitely one of those experiences where, um, when you use equipment can go off for various reasons that aren't supernatural or paranormal. Yes, it's true. There can be false positives for anything. And, but I strongly believe, and there are people who, won't agree with everything. And believe me, I'm not saying that everything is something. I'm not. I've used a lot of devices, and some I like, some I don't. But I really strongly believe that even if it's once every hour, that a spirit can manipulate technology, objects, word generators, spirit boxes. I've seen it. I've heard it, and there's no way the randomness of it can explain what is going on. It just can't. So if you're using this thing, and in my case, I'm using this thing that it uses phonics and generates words too, and I'm using this thing where people are 4 rooms away from us with headphones on. And it's like the Estee method. They can't hear a friggin' word coming from where we are, all the way down the hall with 2 doors shut in between them. And I asked the question, how many people are in this room where the group was with me? 7. That's what the person heard through the headphones and spoke into a microphone that we could hear in another room. That's not random. There's no randomness there. It could have been bubble. It could have been, candy. It could have been any word spoken in that moment, yet it was the exact number of people in the room. So then I went around, and I shouldn't tell this because, well, this is what it is. I went around and I kind of asked them about people without mentioning people's names. I just point, that person, that person, that person. So I asked about one specific person, if they wanted to communicate with them. No. Okay. That person. Static. No comment. Third person in the lineup was Patricia. We all know Patricia. one of the family. I pointed at her, Patricia, said her name. We all looked at each other and we were like, and first time I've ever saw Patricia kind of like, what? And Patricia, what was the question after that? If I asked if they wanted you to go in there and it said sit down or something like that. Did I get that right? And I'm like, Patricia, they're asking for you. And she's like, I'm not doing that. And Donna said, I'll go in there with you. And Patricia's like, no. And again, it's me. I'd have gone in there in a heartbeat. You guys know me. And he said, try it and sit. Right. I'd have gone in there in a heartbeat. Now, where I had them going was in the room, in the closet. There's a hatch that leads to this dugout basement. That's where I believe that well, whoever this person is came from or whatever. But it's this room where people would sleep when they would stay at the mine. If they used to work there, there used to be beds in that room. They would let people stay over up until the point where they saw this shadow figure just come out of nowhere all of a sudden and start banging on metal and scaring people out of there. And now they have a trailer on the other end of the mine where people sleep. This person's there. I know he's there. I've seen the shadow figure myself. He's there. And now, would I have done it? I'd have done it in a heartbeat. And like I said, I had people sitting right next to the hatch, right next to the hatch. So yeah, I understand, Patricia, and I don't believe me. I don't take anything away from anyone who wouldn't do it because I understand it because called you out by name. I tell people this all the time. I could never speak for what a spirit's going to do next anywhere. I don't care if it's Sally's house of lollipops where everybody who was ever there was wonderful and happy and, had rainbow dreams. You can't predict what energy is going to do anywhere. And because it called her out by name, yeah, I can understand why she didn't go. And I didn't push it. For my own morbid curiosity, yes, I wanted her to do it because I wanted to know why they called her out by name. But I understand. Veronica was the person sitting and listening. Veronica said she felt a pulling sensation. And I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, if it was that group or not, where I did ask whoever to touch someone on the shoulder or whatever. But it was one of those nights where that area alone is it builds. It's the weirdest thing. He starts out tolerating and not participating is the word, or interacting, and he builds as the night goes. It's like he comes to realize, like, oh, this is one of those nights where they're going to keep bringing people through here and they're going to keep talking to me, and he doesn't like that. And what was the other one? The EVP. Does anybody remember? God. Oh, clear as day, Class A, EVP. I put the recorder by the hatch and we were asking questions in the room. The response was Class A, clear as day, don't mess with us. And I'm thinking, boy, I thought there was one there that I was talking to all the time. And don't mess with us. So that, along with everything else, was just like, wow, that was pretty cool. And to hear that, and again, the funny thing is, we were fortunate because we had, Chris is still suffering from her shoulder issues, but she was there and she was doing what she always does, leading a group and doing everything that she does. And we were lucky and fortunate enough to have Brian and Ann and Taylor Raleigh there helping us out, and Tyler was helping as well. And Brian came at the end of the night because when everything's done, we have to clean everything up. And I don't know what possessed me to this time. I never went down into the basement area. You can't stand there. You would have to crawl if you wanted to go in there. And I heard there's asbestos down there. So, but anyway, I finally made my way down the wooden stairs, and I crouched and I put my little tiptoe through the tulip box down there, and I put a touch light down there. And I did that by myself before people came. And I'm thinking, like, you're an idiot. Like, you're here by yourself and you're going to go wander down there. So then, at the end of the night when we're all cleaning up, at least Brian was in the building with me after he said, don't mess with us and all that other stuff, where I was collecting everything. But I had heard the mine was particularly active. I heard they got a lot of EVPs in the mine. Again, we meet up afterwards and we talk about everything that happened during the course of the night. And I did hear it was really active. Tyler, who again is a guide there, who's there all the time, works there, he said it was probably one of the most active nights he's ever had in the mine, which says something if you're Tyler. But, it was an interesting night. Really, really interesting night. Poor Patricia, again, that's Kathy said a ton of EVPs in the mine. You remember any particular, Kathy? If you could post them? Because again.
Yeah, Mike Burke being called an a-hole. Like, yes, an a-hole.
So Chris, who's on the side of me, not on camera, said Michael Burke was called an a-hole. So that was one of them. So if anybody else remembers, Kathy, if you remember any, you could let me know. Tyler had a glow because of it.
Oh my God, and I screamed.
Scream?
I screamed. A blue figure popped out from behind the
projector. So Chris is telling me, again, I have to relay because she's over there. She had what's called the flare, and if you don't know what the flare...
I did, Ann did.
Well, Ann had the flare. Yeah. I have to relay if you can hear. And the flare is a thermal imaging camera that, it appears blue if it's cold, or orange, or yellow, or reddish if it's a heat signature. And from what she's telling me, they were looking at this one area and they saw what was a cold figure silhouette peek out from behind something like this and then go right back.
And I screamed.
And Chris screamed.
Because the guy just said he felt and heard something right there where it popped out.
We asked for a name and it said Pete, Bicycle Pete, one of the most famous deaths there. But yeah, it was a good night, real good night, and again, having not been there for a while and then bringing people through there, you never know. You never know. That's why the next time we go there, let me look at my list here. I mentioned my list. Is going to be May 2nd with Cindy Kaza. First time ever having a medium go through there. That should be something. Patricia, you gotta come now because calls you out. We gotta have Cindy relaying to the group what's going on while you're sitting there in that chair by the hatch. So Patricia, you gotta take one. It was so funny because I like Patricia. We all like Patricia, and Patricia's such a good sport when it comes to everything, and she participates and when it happened and she wouldn't go in the chair, I jokingly said to her, stop being so selfish, take one for the team. If you got to get possessed, stop thinking of yourself. The rest of us get to enjoy whatever happens, but it was funny. But I've never seen Patricia really freaked out like that. She was freaked out, which it that was no coincidence. You could tell me 100 times about random stuff coming through and all this other stuff, and 9 times out of 10 I'd believe you. But when stuff like that happens, there's no way it's a coincidence. No way. The randomness of it, there's no way. Just like when I was at the Creeper Gallery, the obelisk for 2,000 words, however 3,000 words are in that box, and I'm with an object, and what does it say? John. What? There was 1,999 other words that thing could have said, and it said my name. Not a coincidence. And another time, I don't really use the Echo Box that much anymore, but I'm sitting somewhere and I actually have the video. I had these big green, dice that look like the old days used to hang from your car mirror, and I just grabbed it. I had the obelisk running, and I put it up to my head, and I said, "What number is this?" Before I can barely finish the question, it said 6, and that's the number that was showing, like that. So yeah, I do believe spirits are capable of really using pretty much anything. But again, there's you have to use logic, and you have to, see if it's relevant. Relevancy is important when it comes to all of it. But you'll see, my reaction is always genuine. When weird stuff happens, like Patricia, that's when the cursing starts, and I can't help it because it's just a shocking thing when there it is. Like, oh my God, question answer. There's someone there in the room with her, talking through her or him or whatever. And that was the God, what was his name? It was the family. I'm horrible with names, but he was the one out of the entire group that first time with us. His family has come before. He's the one who asked the question, and for whatever reason, the spirit down in the hatch out of that entire group waited till he asked the question. He was probably next to last out of all the questions, and said, "Don't mess with us." To him. Why him? Now he was a bigger guy or whatever, but why not react that way to anyone else when they ask the question? Why him? Why Patricia's voice? I mean, name. Why? This is what I love about what we do, is that I'll never get that answer, but the fact that it even happens is just like such an adrenaline rush, that it really makes it all worth it, So I haven't announced, I don't even know what I wrote here. I haven't really announced the dates yet for like any events past Camp Evans on June 6th with John Zaffis. I'm waiting for some other stuff to come through that I'm not sure is going to happen or not. But we do have, God, what did I do for June? I really didn't do anything for June. Wonder why I didn't do anything for, what did I replace this with? Oh, okay. I'm waiting for some stuff to come through. There will be, there's not a lot there for June. That's weird. There will be Creeper Gallery. I don't know when she's going to announce it. Donna is going to do another event at the gallery area like we did the one time. And man, that was something. That cradle, God, I wish we could bring that in to the shop and investigate that. Or maybe we'll have to do it from the actual gallery. But she's going to be, I don't know when she's going to announce that. If I know Donna, it probably won't be till June. But you guys are watching. I don't know if you're still on board for, that's why June, still on board for the June 13th get together. We really haven't talked about that much. It is something that's still in the back of our minds that we want to. Satori Hall, a stranger stranger, where have you guys been? I'm like the redheaded stepchild now. You guys don't answer my text or nothing. You've abandoned me, my friends. And you know what happens to Tori Halls while you're on right now? Um, Somebody got mad at me today because they wanted to do an event with us, the first in this beautiful. I'm going to send you a picture of this building, Satori. This thing straight out of a horror movie. This building is creepy as hell, old as hell. It just, again, made for a horror movie. And we went there and investigated. We got a lot of stuff, and they want to do an event. And they called me today. And it's so funny that again, this is psychic connection. And the woman says to me, we have you locked in for this day. And I said, no, you don't. And she goes, yeah, we printed out our calendars. It's the day of your wedding. And I'm like, we can't do that. And she said, well, you committed to it. I said, no, I committed to this day or that day, the weekend before and after or after. And she's like, no, you committed to that day. We printed out calendars and sent them out. And I said, well, we're not doing it. We can't do it. I said, we're going to this wedding. So we're trying to book it for the night before because they said it's such a big deal and blah, 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 blah. And I get it. If they said I don't remember committing to it. I really don't. If I did, I don't know what I was thinking. But I could swear I said the weekend before or the weekend after. But to make it up to them, we're going to try to do it the Friday night instead of the Saturday. And I hope they can accommodate that because I do really want to go there. The place is awesome. But I don't remember committing to that date. But here you are on. And I literally had that conversation with the woman. And she was just like, John, you committed to it. We printed out flyers. And I'm like, I don't remember committing to that date. I wouldn't have. I knew that was the date of the wedding from when you guys mentioned it first, you know? So anyway, you guys better be there. I'm sorry we planned our no, not at all. You guys are family. We'll definitely be there. We're happy to be there. We're looking forward to it, you know. But anyway, yeah, I haven't heard from you guys. You guys, I heard that you guys have been busy and stuff, but yeah, my texts are going unanswered, man. I'm like, man, I'm the redheaded stepchild now. They don't even know I exist, you know.
I was gifted by one of their beautiful necklaces, so I can't say.
Yeah, that's right. You send Chris the necklaces and the gifts, and me, I am the redheaded stepchild.
Patricia got it for me.
I am the redheaded stepchild. This is true. I forget. Chris is the one they like, not me. So you probably answer her. I should have had her text you. But anyway, I'm kidding. But yeah, so speaking of Cody and Satori, August 22nd, they'll be there with their haunted objects, and then we're going to see them. It's so funny, again, when it comes to Cody and Satori. It's like we don't see each other, and then we see each other like 4 times within like 4 months. That's just the way I've been dealing with health. Yeah, I didn't want to mention that. I don't know if you wanted me to mention that. I hope you're okay. I hope, that works out and you're feeling better. He had mentioned that. I didn't know if you wanted me to mention that, but I hope you feel better. So, yeah. But he could text me back. Nothing's wrong with him, right? I'm kidding. You guys, we love you guys. And we miss seeing you guys. It's been too long. But yeah, again, we're going to see them in August. And then again in Halloween. And then again at the expo. And then at the jubilation.
Is Satori feeling better?
Huh?
She's been dealing with health issues.
Yeah. I didn't tell you?
No.
Oh. Sorry to tell you. I'll tell you after. I don't want to announce it.
She's okay though, right?
I don't want to announce it to everyone.
Yeah.
But everyone, again, good thoughts for Satori. She is having health issues. So good thoughts for her. Prayers for her that she feels better soon. It's understandable, but Cody, nothing's wrong with Cody's fingers. So remind him that he still has a friend here in Jersey that he forgets about. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. Um, the events for June. I don't know why my scheduling is so messed up for everything, because there's places that are we're waiting to hear back from for to do events. But June 13th, June 13th. Um, if you guys are still interested in that, I'd like to do it. And it doesn't matter how many people are there. For those of you who don't know, we are planning on a day where we just get together at like some park with a pavilion or something. And we just, everyone brings potluck, kind of like what we did for our wedding. Everybody just brings food. We'll bring burgers and whatever. Make sure we find a place that has a bunch of grills. And we just hang for the day with each other, cook, have some laughs. Um, just no pressure, no nothing. Just hang out and just with the family and spend some time with each other. Just hopefully the weather's nice and just stay as long as you want. You don't have to stay forever. You want to come have some food, say hello to everyone, and go. Whatever, no pressure. But we really, really enjoyed. Um, yeah, it was our wedding, and but that kind of feeling that day of having everyone together, it was such a good feeling to like look around and see, our family of course was there, but our doctor was there, and Cody Satori were there, John Zaffis was there, and you guys, I mean, so many people that we know and that we've met and that support us and that are friends and that are part of our paranormal family here were there. And it was such a it because it was our wedding, we couldn't spend the time that we would have liked to be part of it, and with everyone. This will give us a chance to do that. If however many of you want to come, we'll make up a thing where we, who's bringing what, and we'll find a place to do it. Where we saw, but that was right at the park by us, right? That they had the pavilion and all those girls around it.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to them. Well, I'll do that sooner than later. But we'll find a place and we'll find a time. And like I said, just get together, just hang out for the day, and it'll be fun just to see everyone. When we do that, we always have a good time. Even and this is to your credit, everyone watching here who has attended our events, even if you come once or if you come 100 times or whatever. To your credit, is it Roosevelt Park? That sound right? Roosevelt Park? Is that by us? Yeah. To your credit, there were people that came this weekend, two in particular, father and a daughter, and first time coming to one of our events. And I got a message from them saying that, they didn't know what to expect, but they had such a great time. Everyone made him and his daughter feel very welcome, and they enjoyed it so much. And that's another part of what we do that really has nothing to do with us. We're there, we're in the building, we're doing what we're doing. But to your credit, all of you who come out and attend these events and support us and support the locations, you guys treat everybody so great, even if it's some of the people that come to all the events or a quarter of them or whatever. Whoever's there, you guys just make everyone feel welcome, and we get the credit for that because they're like, hey, everyone was so welcoming and my daughter had such a great time or whatever, and we're just doing what we're doing and we try to be who we are. But to your credit, all of you, to just make these people feel welcome and part of it, and fill them in on this, that, and the other, and just take them into the group. And that to we appreciate that a lot because we get the credit for it, and we're not really the ones doing that for them. It's you guys who are adding to the experience of whatever they're getting out of the event itself. part of that is, being around you guys and you guys welcoming them into the community and part of whatever this is. So we appreciate that. Thank you guys for that. And it's part of what we do. And that's brings me back around to June 13th. It's just a way of, we did this at the Barron Arts Center, but we had an event afterwards where we just told it was a fundraiser. This isn't a fundraiser. This is just hanging out. Come hang out. Spend a day. Have a burger. Have whatever it is you want to bring, potato salad, whatever. And just hang out. Leave it hour, half hour, whatever, couple hours. And just hang out with the rest of the people that you know from here and have a good time. Nice summer day. So we are committing to that day. I don't have anything scheduled for that day. That's why I was looking at the sheet here. That's the reason I didn't put anything for that day, because I am planning on following through with that in some way, shape, or form. Even if it's just Chris and I out there cooking burgers, we'll be out there barbecuing. So keep that in mind as we go forward, if you can be available that weekend. But that's it. I babbled enough. 9:41. Wow. I can talk a lot, can't I? I went through an hour and 15 minutes without shutting up. So could I do without you? No middle finger that time. But anyway, maybe Creeper Gallery this week. I'll see how I feel. We're going away this weekend, so maybe Creeper Gallery. And if I do go to the Creeper Gallery, Jay, you could warn Donna in advance. I'm doing that mannequin. Well, that probably didn't come out right. I'm investigating that mannequin again. Every time I walk in there, there's that one mannequin that was purchased, and then I think something happened where it wasn't purchased. That mannequin is looking right at me every time, and big smile on his face. I'm investigating that mannequin along with something else when I go back there, whatever night that is. Probably Tuesday or Wednesday. But that's it. Guys, thanks for watching. Again, all your support. Thank you guys for coming to the events and watching the live streams. And right now, the only event up there is the August 22nd. So if you want to do the gallery reading, email NewJerseyParanormal@yahoo.com. Working hard on the expo. If you haven't got your tickets for the November 7th New Jersey Para Unity 12th expo, get your tickets to that. You see the lineup. It's going to be awesome. VIP tickets are still available, so get that if you want to, and we'll see you soon. All right, have a good night, guys.